Hey everybody, thanks for attending another one of our webinars. Today, I'm very excited to be talking with you all about a new feature for virtual challenges, milestones and badges. So I'm going to give it just a couple of minutes here, see if we can, if some people are a little bit late, and give them some time to come in. So we're going to get started in just a minute or two. Stay in line. All right, so looks like a few more people have arrived, so we're going to get started here. Again, this is a webinar today on announcing a new feature, milestones and badges for virtual challenges. So let's get started. First off, if you all don't know who I am, my name is Matt Avery. I'm a product manager at RunSignup. My main responsibility as a product manager is prioritizing feature development. So I do that for both our race day products as well as the virtual results platform. So I basically come up with how we should approach different types of features that we need, prioritize them for our developers, and work with our development team to make sure that they're doing them in a way that's efficient and most beneficial to all of you, our customers. So today I'm going to be sharing with you some exciting new features we've added to make your virtual challenge events, even more exciting and engaging for your participants. Before I do get started and jump into this, I do want to direct you all to your GoToWebinar panel. On the right, you'll find a helpful links document as well as a milestones and badges presentation document. I recommend that you go and find out where to get that, because this helpful links doc will have some honestly really helpful links. Our team at RunSignup has done an incredible job of documenting all of these best practices and all of the features we have and different ways of tackling this really difficult situation we all find ourselves in as event producers. So this helpful links page is going to be really, really good for you all to take a look at if you haven't already. So the Go Virtual Hub, we have a ton of different options here on how you can convert your race to a virtual or offer a virtual option. And there's all sorts of buttons and links in here. You can take a scan through if you haven't already. A lot of creative race examples in this. So if you want some examples of what other events have been doing, there's some really good things in here to go through. Our coronavirus race options and best practices page is also really great. This is for both participants as well as events. Talking about, if you need to postpone your race, what tools you can use. If you need to communicate to your participants your plans of action for your event, you can learn about doing that here. Deferral options, refunds, everything you need to know about postponing, refunding because of COVID-19, you'll find info on it here. The Looking Forward doc is an incredible set of guidelines for events looking to put on an event during COVID-19. So we're basically put together from our community members a document that's a living document, and you're welcome to actually edit it yourself. And basically the idea is we want community members to have a hive mind and put together everything that they know and that they've done trying to put races on during this time. There's a lot of great info here. So go ahead and read through this if you haven't already. A lot of great information on how to staff your event, how to provide PPE, what does insurance mean in the COVID era. There's just so much here you can see scanning through. I would love to go through all this with you, but I do not have the time for that. So this is why I've given you all this. There's another great one here, which is very pertinent to today's topic, the challenge platform page. This page is all about setting up a challenge event for your race. So learning how to create a challenge, learning about the challenge platform, all these step-by-step guidelines on everything you need to do to set up a challenge, and all the settings you should tick or not tick. There's even more info, a lot of sample races you can find here, some live events that you can check out and see how they're doing it. A lot of great inspiration to find here. So definitely take a look through this if you're interested in a challenge event. Our blog, obviously, we always recommend that you follow this if you're interested in our company updates, both from the product side, new features and things like that, as well as industry updates. You'll find a lot of information here. And finally, this is just a great little video I found on some case studies that we've done with our customers who are doing a really great job of using our features. So definitely take a look at this, and there's much more we have. If you go to our blog or you go down these platform pages, you'll find all sorts of content that's been put together for you. So I really just wanted to give a one-sheet handout for everyone to have more research in the future. Also, in the handout section, I've given you the actual PDF of this slide deck here, so you can follow along on your end if you'd like to. Additionally, any of these images, I actually just linked to the page where they came from. So if you want to dive into the actual setup from that screenshot, you'll be able to do that. Just go ahead and click that picture and you'll wind up where it's showing. So that should be helpful to you as well. All right, so with that out of the way, I'm going to get started. Today, I'm going to give you, like I said, an update on a new feature we have, milestones and badges. So it's important to understand that we've been doing a ton of features in virtual events and virtual challenges. So it gets really complicated because these are brand new ideas that the community is coming up with. Every day we're getting really awesome recommendations on what features we should be adding and how we should approach it. And so we've been tacking more and more and more and more features on top of each other, and it's hard for users to really keep up with it. So first, I'm going to do a virtual challenge overview with you all, so I can tell you what they are and why do we love them so much, so that when I get to the milestones and badges, you can have a great understanding of what they mean. Let's get going. So a virtual challenge, it's a special type of virtual event. And it's specific to RunSignup. It's our terminology. It's calling it a virtual challenge. It gives participants the ability to log multiple activities over time. So a standard virtual race, or that's what we call it, a virtual race, is like a 5K, where you go and you just submit your time. I ran 19 minutes for a 5K. A virtual challenge would be something more like, I'm going to run X number of miles every day, and it's going to add up to a total of however many miles after the challenge is over. So it's a little bit different from a standard virtual race. So this is just a screenshot of an activity list. So for this person, they logged a bunch of activities for this challenge. This was from the New Jersey Run Across New Jersey challenge. So this person did all these different runs, and it's going to be totaling up all of their runs and ranking them. So challenge results are a little bit different from virtual results. Virtual results, let's say it's a 5K, it's going to be sorted on the lowest time generally. A challenge result, you usually wouldn't want to sort it on the lowest time. You'd want to sort it on like the most distance covered. We also offer a bunch of different things, like you can say the person who's done the most elevation gain over the course of a month should be ranked the highest, or the total count of some custom tally field. So this is where it starts to get really flexible. We allow you to say, I want a custom tally field, like push-ups, and I want to rank the total results by who's done the most push-ups. Well, you can do that and any other sort of kind of thing you want to do with our system because it's so flexible. So again, I've linked out here. There's some great guides on the challenge platform page on how to set up virtual challenges. So if you go through the setup guide here, it will walk you through all the settings, everything you need to do to set up virtual challenges. So there's a lot of information here. We give you everything you need to know on this page. So if you're interested more in a setup type of thing, go through this page if you haven't already. And if you still have questions, we're more than happy to assist you. But there's a lot of content out there on how to set up challenges. So definitely read through this. So here is an example of what a challenge result page would look like. I came into a race. This is the virtual summer reading challenge. And they had set up a custom tally that's just saying tell me how many books you read. And you read 1 book, 2 books, 3 books, whatever. And it's sorting based on the total number of books that Allison read over the course of the summer. So maybe it was like, you finished a book on this day, June 7th, and you go in and you log and say, I finished 1 book today. So what it would do is show a list of all the books that she completed reading. And, in this one, they actually had them list out what the book was and the author. And you can put more information like that if you wanted to. Really creative uses we see here. So why we love challenges is that it's a different type of competition. So for example, you may want to rank these participants based on who's able to do the most amount of miles, instead of just like a regular 5K, like I said before. So this is what it does is it democratizes race results. It's no longer just for the people who are the fastest. It's, you can make it about who's going to be able to do the most amount of push-ups, or who's going to do the most amount of miles, or whatever you want. So it's a really fun and exciting way to change competition, we think. All right, so on to the next piece that we added to virtual challenges. The activities, multiple activities was our very first step. The next thing we added was activity types. And the idea here is to get creative. We had a lot of events trying to do really crazy ideas, and we decided to implement this activity type feature because of it. So activity types allow you to make your challenge a little more interesting by adding multiple activity types that participants can log and get really creative with custom activity types. So what this means is I could say, instead of just like running, you could run, ride, swim, walk, ski, paddle, or row to get the most amount of mileage. What you also can do is set up a custom activity type. So for example, I have a push-up challenge where the tally is a custom tally called push-ups. On top of that, I've added 4 different custom activity types, because I don't want it to be just how many push-ups did you do. I want to show people that they did 4 one-handed push-ups, they had 20 two-handed push-ups, how many clap push-ups, and how many Superman push-ups. So in this example, you can see I did 20 one-handed on this day, 5 on that day, and it shows me a breakdown of all of these different types of activities, but they're all just push-ups. So this is another example of a pretty creative way to use our system and our platform. So here you'll see the activity logging page. From a participant-facing view, you'll be able to come in and log an activity, and if you've set up multiple activity types, the user would be able to select which activity type they're logging currently. And so for this one, they get to pick one-handed, two-handed clap, or Superman, and they set the date they completed it, the number of push-ups they did, and they can put a comment in there and even put emojis if they want. So it's important to understand here, the thing on the right, push-ups, that's our custom tally type, and the thing on the left is our custom activity type. So they're all push-ups, and these are different types of push-ups. Oops. Let's try and do that better. There we go. So I am seeing a few questions pop up, and I do have time for questions later on. What I want to do is hold questions until the end so that we can answer them all at once. I'm going to be going through a lot of stuff here, and it'll make more sense towards the end. So I do want to hold off until then, but feel free to put the questions into the questions panel now. I have a couple of folks on the chat box who'll be able to respond to your questions, and we'll bring them up at during the question section if they're really good, or if we wanted to answer them for the group as well. So the next thing that we added was teams. We wanted to give you the ability to let your participants team up to achieve more together. So people now, especially more than ever, want to be able to feel a sense of achievement, but also feel that with a group. And this is just one way of us giving you the ability to do that. And I think it's a very motivating way to get people engaged. So if you have groups and teams on your race already set up, it's very simple to come in and just enable team results. So for virtual events, it's right in the setup, and it allows you to very quickly just check a box, and it will automatically add a new team leaderboard for that event, and it will start to tally up all the distances tallies or elevation gains of all the members of the teams and rank them accordingly. It's all based on the way you sorted your standard results. So if you're doing the greatest distance, it would do it based on the greatest distance completed by the team members added together. If it's by elevation gain, it'll sort it by the greatest elevation gain of all the teams together, and so on and so forth. So this is a really slick and easy way to make things more interesting. You do have to have RunSignup group teams enabled. A lot of events already have them set up for social teams, so we found this is a quick win for us. This is just a quick example of what it looks like. You'll see this event has individual results as well as team results. So if I clicked in, I'd be able to see that this is ranking out my teams for this virtual Florida challenge. And the sloth runners are currently in the lead, and it shows me a bunch of information on them, which I'll be talking more about later on. But it tells me all the members, shows me where they are on a map. They already finished it. They're 105% complete, and a bunch of other fun stuff, which we'll talk about later. Keep clicking the screenshots. There we go. All right, moving on. Goals. So what you saw in the previous screenshot, you saw a goal meter, you saw a map on a page that shows progress. When we added challenges, we really discovered quickly that we needed a way to add goals, because when we first had challenges, all it was doing was giving you a results page that was sorted by something different, and it wasn't like all that exciting for people. So goals give you a way to give participants more of a sense of accomplishment. So every participant specifically. So, we don't want to just give it to the first 10 people who show up in the first page of results. We want everybody to feel like they're progressing towards something and achieving something. So you can set goals which give participants the ability to track their progress better. When you set goals up, a progress bar will show on the results page, indicating how close someone is to achieving that goal that you set up. This helps keep people motivated to push that progress bar further and further to the right. You've got another setup guide link here. So this will show you exactly how you can set up goals, and it's fairly straightforward. Just go through this guide and you'll be able to say, I want to set it up for, same goal for all participants, or letting participants define their own goals. There's a bunch of different goal types. As we started adding these, we realized that people had really great ideas on how to set up goals and had all sorts of things they wanted to try and do. So we built out the software to be extremely flexible. So there's two main types of goals. There's overall goals, and there's goals by activity type. So an overall goal would be like the total distance or tally for a participant. So it could be the total number of miles done by a participant, or the total elevation gain done for a participant. You can also set those up for teams, so that you may have a 1,000-mile challenge for individuals, but if they're a part of the team, their team page will have a separate goal of 5,000 miles, for instance. So these are all very granular. You can do a ton of cool stuff here. In addition to setting overall goal types, you can also set activity type goal types. So this means I have an event that has a run, bike, and a swim activity type available for people. Within that, I want them to do 100 miles of running, 300 miles of riding, and 50 miles of swimming. And so that will all, bubble up towards their total distance. But you can also have run goal meter, and a ride goal meter, and a swim goal meter. So they could have 4 different goal meters on their results page, their individual results page, showing their total progress, their run progress, their ride progress, and their swim progress. And again, you can do that for teams as well. So for all of those, you're able to set the goals yourself. So you could predefine it and say, I want all people to do 1,000 miles. Or you can say that the participants of the teams can set their own goals. So maybe you don't want to say that everybody has to do 1,000 miles, but you just want everybody to decide for themselves what they want to do. Some people, may not be able to do 1,000 miles, but they're able to do 100 miles. So they can put in 100 miles for their goal and still feel like they're accomplishing something. So this is really great, I think, to use the set your own goals option. It gives more people, I think it allows more people to feel a sense of accomplishment as they're logging their activities. So we have progress bars which show for each goal meter. We also have the option to set an overall goal map. So a lot of events like to do this, run across Florida or run across Tennessee or do activities across the United States of America. So we have a way to actually allow you to upload a custom map file. It's a special type of format, and we can help you get that all set up. It's not too complicated. You can build it in Google Earth or Google Maps, and it will actually show the people as they progress towards their goal as if they were actually running the event itself along the course of Florida. So this is a really cool, and I love seeing new examples of how people are being creative with this. So this is a total game changer. Participants are interacting with your event page constantly as they log their activities, and they're even more motivated to log thanks to everyone having personal goals. So I have been in the running and athletics industry for many years now, and while events and putting on, I worked for an event production company for many years, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever. You have one day and it's just amazing. You're out there, you set up all the equipment, everyone's having a blast. But the one thing that you miss from the online perspective is you don't get as much interaction on a day-to-day basis necessarily. Some events are really good at promoting, and they'll advertise and they'll get people engaged with their website a lot. But setting up a virtual challenge will guarantee that. People are going to be looking at your website or your race page every day if they're going to be logging activities to try and reach a goal. So what I find is that even a lot of events that are planning on having an in-person event at some point when that's possible, they're doing a virtual challenge option in the meantime, just to garner excitement around their event. And maybe some events use it as a training program towards their marathon happening next year now. So there's a lot of good ways to use this software to benefit your event in different ways from an actual in-person event. So I'm really excited about this, even though I'm sort of, dyed in the wool, ran cross country in college, a competitive athlete for many years. This is super awesome, and it doesn't take away from the real race experience. So how do we make them even better? Challenges are able to motivate more athletes in standard races, but we know that not everyone's going to be able to or even care about logging the most mileage. So what we came up with was the idea of milestones. So I'm going to talk a little bit about milestones and badges now. This is that new feature that I was saying that I wanted to talk about today, but it took me 22 slides to get here. Now that we all are very well knowledge and learned about virtual challenges, we get to talk about the fun stuff. So milestones, keep it up. The idea with milestones is that we want to give people little prizes along the way towards their end goal. So in the virtual challenge for running across Florida, it's a large amount of miles to get across Florida. So that first day when you get on and log, your little goal meter moves about 1 millimeter. That's not very exciting. That's not very fun. So we thought of maybe we should give people a way to code in milestones or have like steps along the way. So maybe if you're in Florida, there's different types of things along the way of the course you designed. Or if you're in New Jersey, they have mile stops along the way. So this gives people smaller goals to be able to accomplish along the way to their larger goal. Think of it as a checkpoint on your way to achieving a goal. So you can add a few different types of milestones and any number to your challenge events. So you're able to add as many milestones as you like. you're able to add milestones for both participants and teams. So these are the three different types. You can add a fixed milestone, which is participants will unlock a milestone at a set distance. So I have a Florida challenge. I know that 137 miles into it, they reach some town, and that's the first milestone they hit along the way. That's an example of a fixed milestone. A repeating milestone is a little unique. When you set up a repeating milestone, what it does is it gives a milestone to participants for every X miles run, or elevation gain or tally total, whatever. So if it's like hot dogs eaten, you could do a 10-pack of hot dogs, and you get a little 10-pack milestone every time you eat 10 hot dogs. So there's all sorts of things you can do with that. It's really nice for really long challenges or open-ended challenges where they don't have a goal, and they're just trying to run a bunch of miles or walk a bunch of miles or do activities, and it just keeps going up and up and up and up, and they get milestones for every 100 completed or 50 or whatever it is for you. Another interesting option for milestones is the percentage-based milestone. Percentage-based milestones are unlocked at a set percentage for each person's goal. So go back and remember, we are able to say a goal is defined by me, the race director. I want to say everyone has to do 1,000 miles, or it's set on the user end. The user says, hey, I want to do 500 miles this summer. That's it. That's good enough for me. If you set a percentage-based goal and say it's 50%, that means that the person who set it up to be 500 miles for themselves, they still get a milestone at that 50% point. 250 miles, they get a milestone. On the same coin, another person who had 1,000 miles for their personal goal is going to get one at 500. So I really love using percentage milestones if you are doing the user set goals. That makes it, even more democratized. People are going to get the same amount of milestones, even if they have a lower total goal for themselves. So each of these milestone types can be added based on distance, elevation gain, or custom tally. So again, super flexible. You can do almost anything you need to do with these. We have a recent blog post here, which actually walks you through the setup of all of this. If you go to this page and scroll towards the bottom, if I can scroll, lost my mouse there for a second, sorry about that. It will show you exactly what you need to do. So this is all in the setup of your virtual event under goals, adding a milestone, selecting a milestone type that we just talked about, adding a label for it, adding the distance, and selecting a badge type, which I'll talk about in a second. Okay, so here's some examples of what you could use milestones for. So for the, run the length of New Jersey, have a milestone for each of the different towns you pass by. We talked about that a little bit. Excuse me. For a climb Mount Everest event, maybe you have milestones that represent the elevation gain for each base camp along the way. So like, you start at the base camp and you work your way to the summit. And, you reach camp 1 at 2,200 feet. And then you reach camp 2 at, however many more that is. And for the hot dog eating contest, like I said, generate milestones for every 10 hot dogs eaten. And you can have a little milestone, a badge of a 10-pack of hot dogs. For do 1,000 activities in the month of August event, have milestones generated when participants reach 50% of the goal that they've set for their run activities. So you could say, you have to do 1,000, but I only want to set a 50% goal on one of the activity types. So there's just all sorts of fun things you can do here. So what are milestones? Well, milestones, like I said, they represent points along the way towards progress. But we have in the software actually put in milestone pages. So when you accomplish a milestone, you can view and share all the associated stuff that goes along with getting a milestone. So milestones include badges, and you can share on Facebook your milestone page. When you unlocked it, it will show there. And actually, when you log an activity that unlocks a badge or as many badges as it does, you'll get a little preview of the milestone badge that you accomplished. Additionally, there's a link to view a trophy case where they can view all of the milestones they've achieved along with the ones that they have yet to unlock. So I'm going to show that here. So this is an event, climb famous landmarks. The idea is you do whatever you want. You can run, you can ride, you can walk, and you log all of your activities. And if you include elevation gain, we have a way of actually getting it from GPS devices if you use those. And it will automatically load your activity data with the elevation gain in there. And I've set up a few different milestones that are actually repeating milestones. So the Great Pyramid of Giza is 479 feet, and I've climbed that 3 times. So in this example, you can see I've done this milestone once, twice, 3 times. The 4th time down here, it's not unlocked yet. I haven't hit 479 feet. So this is the trophy case, and again, it'll show you all the things you have yet to unlock as well as all the things you have. You can share the trophy case itself. You can actually share the milestone itself as well. So a lot of great stuff here, and there's even more to come, which I'll talk about in a minute. So we aren't finished with milestones yet. There's a lot more we know we need to do and that we have planned to do. So we love getting features out as fast as possible because it makes sure that we're doing the right thing. You guys give us great feedback when we ship out new features so that we can make sure we're on the right track. So things that we are working on currently that are on the way, automatic email notifications. So right now, when a participant logs an activity, it does tell them in that activity logging confirmation page if they've unlocked an activity. But we want to give race directors the ability to customize an email notification for these milestones. So when you hit that checkpoint along the way, you want to have a write-up on the historical significance of this landmark you passed by or something. So we're going to give you a way to set up custom email notifications for each milestone. Milestone certificates are another really, really cool thing on the way. So the idea is on that milestone page that I showed before, where it says milestone for Lala Farah, we'll also have a large certificate that you could display on there. And we'll give you some example certificates that you could use, like a postcard or things like that. But we expect a lot of people to be creative and upload their own images. And maybe it's a nice photograph of the town you passed by if you're doing a checkpoint type race or whatever. You can get really creative. And that will be included with the milestone data. So you'd be able to view it, share it, download it, that type of thing. In addition to milestone certificates, we want to give you the ability to design those certificates. So it's one thing just upload an image, but we also want to allow you to actually overlay data on there. So similar to our digital bib tool and our finisher certificate tool, you'd be able to place data on there like the total mileage done by this person and their name and so on and so forth. So you can call it out and share it on Facebook and say, Matt Avery reached this point on the course, and so far he's done X number of miles and things like that. The last one, we got more than just these 4 things we're working on. I can guarantee that. These are the ones that I wanted to bring up for today. Milestones based on total time. So one thing we don't have is right now the way to say, I want to give a milestone just for X minutes of activity. We see a lot of events wanting to do more of a generic fitness type challenge where it's just, they can do yoga, they can do walking, they can do whatever they like, and all they're logging is the minutes. And we want to be able to give them milestone based on those number of minutes completed of general activity or maybe yoga activity or activity type data. So that's kind of the stuff that's coming up. And that's for milestones. So badges are the next thing I wanted to talk a little bit about. So badges, you got to get that bling. Everyone knows that participants absolutely love medals. The bigger and the fancier, the better. So we wanted to kind of replicate that idea of giving people something nice and shiny for accomplishing a milestone. So what we did was we said, well, when you guys set up a milestone, we're going to automatically generate a badge for you for that milestone. So on the right, I have some examples of what our default milestones look like. Those numbers show up automatically. So if it's a 10-mile one, it'll show a 10. If it's a run, it could show a runner on it. If it's a bike, it could show a cyclist on it, so on and so forth. So there's a few different options like color and what icon shows on there. But what's even cooler than our very nice looking predefined ones is the ability to design your own badges. So you can upload a custom badge. So we don't have a badge builder, but we did find some really, really cool open and free utilities to build your own. So I found this badge.design page where you can come in and just go ahead and put a shield on here, say add some text, say nice work, and it allows you to customize this image and put in different color, text, so on and so forth. Put a soccer ball on there, whatever you want to do. So this is a really cool utility. I wanted to share it because some people don't have an in-house design studio working for them for their event, but you can certainly make something really nice with a little utility like this. And you can download this as a PNG and you can upload it to our custom badge system. So you could create some really nice badges for your milestones using this utility. Canva is another great option, and I'm sure there's a ton more out there that you can find online. So I wanted to show some examples of what custom badges look like in real life. So this is that event that is the Summer Reading Challenge. And you can see here that it shows right in the results page all the milestones that Allison has completed. The first one was, she got her first book. It's very cute. And then the second one, she read 3 books. She's pretty smart. She's traveling the world through books, unlocked on the 15th. So Allison's done a really nice job of sourcing these little badges, and I love them. So if you click in, it'll allow you to share it to Facebook and so on and so forth. And then you can go back to the trophy case and you can see she's done 3 out of 4 milestones. She's got this reading champion milestone that she's still got to do. She's read 6 fiction books and 4 nonfiction books. I love this example. It's so cool. And I kind of showed that off already. All right, and that brings me to the end of my slides. So I'm now going to open it up for any questions that came in. So I know I saw a ton of questions pop up. Yeah, Bob.
Yeah, Matt, why don't I go ahead and kind of go through the questions for you?
Sure.
So the first one's really not a question. It's a pure statement of fact that that picture of you on the bike is so cool.
That's a really good photo. It's my friend Tom Burrows took it. He comes out and does photos of all the bike races in the area. He's such a good photographer. And I can tell you this, I wasn't smiling that much for very long after the start of that race. It was very hard.
I have actually watched Matt go do one of his crazy bicycle races. He is crazy. So I can attest to that. Well, the first real question that came in is near and dear to my heart. And I bet you know what that is, Matt.
Yes, I do.
And do you want to talk about that feature?
So I forgot to mention it here. One of our ideas is actually we're going to have a way in the future to allow you to draw a custom route. So instead of using like a Google map to show the progress on a route, we'd be able to allow you to upload an image and draw a route on it. So in this example of elevation gain, you could show progress towards this goal. So it'd be a different way to represent that goal. Great. So definitely something on our radar, and we have some ideas on how we would do it.
I really like that idea, Matt.
Bob loves the idea because he wants to do Candyland. He wants to have
Candyland so bad.
Progress. And I make fun of him, but it actually is a really good idea, and I do love it.
Yeah. So a question came up, do we plan on building integration with Garmin Connect so runners can have their runs automatically uploaded during the challenge? maybe you want to talk through the several different angles on that one.
Yeah, so we certainly could, but the problem with doing integrations with third parties like that is it requires a ton of development, and it requires a ton of support development. So we have to maintain it and make sure that years from now it still works. And things change on the Garmin side, and once we get Garmin, people ask for Strava. Things change on the Strava side. Suddenly we have this whole syncing platform that we have to manage and do development for, when I'd much rather do these really cool, like upload a custom map course and do even more with milestones, put notifications out. There's just so much more stuff we can do with our platform before we even get to ingesting activity from third parties. We've given you an easy way to download your GPX file or fit file from Garmin Connect or Strava, and you can drop that right in if you're doing a challenge where people will have those types of devices. We've made it pretty straightforward to do that, but we don't really see us doing the Strava or Garmin Connect integration just because it gets really complicated really quick, and we have so many more fun things we want to do, to be honest.
Two other comments on that, Matt. So one is that we do see some percentage of each challenge where people would do that. But by and large, it's kind of like when you go to a real race, there's only 10% of the people that are competitive, and the other 90% are there for, either setting their own personal, agendas or goals or things like that, or just for enjoyment, social purposes. And we're seeing the same thing is very much true in the challenge space as well. The other thing is that there are other challenge platforms out there, like Final Surge, that you could use if you wanted to have like a really competitive type of environment. Or you could have everybody use. I know Strava has different ways that you could do challenges. You could have everybody that is into Strava do everything on Strava, and probably Garmin has something as well there. So we don't necessarily need to do all of that. And then the final comment on that is that in the coming few weeks, we're going to put out a public API so that you can upload results from an app. And so we're going to be doing that work with RaceJoy. So RaceJoy will be able to automatically upload results up to your challenge events, like it does for virtual races. And third parties would be able to utilize that. So you could develop that yourself if you were a little bit of a hacker. There may be other third parties in the marketplace that may decide, because they already do integrations with Strava or Garmin, say, that may want to basically be the gateway between one or the other. And then the other way to go about it is that you could ask Garmin to do an integration to our API.
There's one more thing I wanted to say on that too, and I think it's a very good point. When you do an integration with a third party and you say everybody's going to log through Strava or log through Garmin Connect, it's actually reducing exposure for your event page. Because the point of doing this all is to get people onto your event page and talking about your event more. If you remove people from having to go to your page to log, then it does remove that interaction with your event. So there is a lot of benefit to be had if they're actually going to your page and logging their activities that way.
Next question, and this was early on. Basically, the issue is that the badges are too small, and it'd be nice to have area for more text and details. And I think kind of the approach that we're going to be using is to make the badges sized for cell phones, which is kind of the design principle that we've taken, and that the fuller images are going to be the certificates. Did you have any other comments on that, Matt?
Not Not really. We did get this out really fast. It was a really quick cycle to get these out there. So we didn't spend too much time making the UI absolutely perfect. So it's definitely going to improve. And we have the ability to very easily scale those badge images. So we're going to have our UX team spend a little bit more time on making this a little bit nicer, and like maybe we will see that even on mobile they look better, a little bit bigger. But we're definitely taking that into consideration. Because we have the ability to scale those images up. If it makes sense to scale them up a little bit more, we might do that. But I think for the most part, what you'd want to do is when we have milestone certificates, you'd really want to put all of the like a larger image with more information on the certificate and keep the badge pretty small.
So basically, explain how you're going to get to a certificate. Would you click on the milestone?
Yep. So you would have, let's see if I can find one of these. Yeah. So if you clicked one of these milestones, see the little badges here, it would bring up this milestone landing page, and it would show the certificate right on this page.
Gotcha. And so there's a couple different ideas here, is that there are some people that have, or one of the folks has suggested that the milestone enable you to link to their own page that they manage, right?
Yep.
And so they could put up perhaps like a sponsor milestone, and you've earned a coupon to ShopRite or something, and so you click on that and you go to an outside website.
It's a really good idea. I don't think we have had any requests for that yet, but it's a really great idea. You could certainly put that in there.
There's and like that could also potentially be a button that would go on the certificate, Matt. So
Yep.
you'd have more room to explain that and things like that. So I really like that idea quite a bit.
That's a great idea for sponsor engagement. As we all know, that's really important these days.
Yeah. And similarly, and I guess you could accomplish this, with what we were just talking about, but linking out to a video.
Yeah, we've had that request actually, and we thought of ways of doing that. But I think that's a good idea to do. I don't know if it would be an embed or if it would be a link over to a video, but I think that's a good idea. We obviously want to promote as much content as possible for these things to keep people engaged, and video is a great way of doing that.
Yeah. There's a question, and I said no to this, but you may have a different opinion. Will you allow participants to set their own goal, but with a minimum that the race director sets?
So I don't think we're going to do it on the goal level. We are going to have a way to have like a minimum on the specific activity level. So it could be like, you have to do 30 minutes of activity. It doesn't count if you've done less than 30 or something. Yeah. But we won't do that on the goal.
Yeah. Matt, do you want to go back to your presentation and go back to the coming features page, and kind of give folks an idea for timeline on some of this stuff, and also talk about how each of those features is going to be somewhat evolutionary?
Yeah, so these are going to come, well, the milestones based on total time should actually be out fairly soon. We have a developer who's extremely fast and is currently working on this one. The automatic email notifications will be coming after that, and then certificates after that, and certificate designer after that is what I think. I think within 2 weeks, we should see notifications and certificates, maybe not the designer, but that is my estimate. And my estimate has been proven wrong many times before, but that is my current estimate.
Good enough. I think there's actually two different questions, and there may be confusion in this question. How do we export GPS data from our participants' phones into your map feature?
I guess I would ask if they are, do you mean
I
you
think what you ought to explain, it might be worthwhile explaining how do you get that map up there relative to a goal, and then talk about importing GPX fit data.
So those are two different things. So
Yeah,
this, yeah, this is a map, not of what a person actually ran. No one actually ran from Jacksonville to the end of the Keys. This is saying that I have a course that I created in some software, and it is taking them from the northern tip of Florida to the end of the Keys. And this is called a KML file. It's created in Google Earth, and basically it will just show everybody as their progress goes towards the end here. Now, for the submission of GPX files, that's a little bit different. Let me see if I can find a race that I can show you. So individuals, when they come in and they log an activity, they'd have the ability here to load an activity from a GPX file. So they could drag and drop it from a Garmin or a Fit or a Strava download, or from their phone if they have an app that exports in one of those types. What I'd recommend is, if you just like Google Strava export GPX, you'd find ways to get that file from those different sources. But most people who have a Garmin or something like that, have a device like this, they would be able to understand and know how to get those files from them. So this is not actually going to do anything with the course data. All it does is it takes the GPS file and it says, okay, how many miles did they do in that file? What was the time that it took them to get into that file? And if they had elevation gain enabled here, it'd fill that field in for them. And then it submits it and it throws away the activity file. It doesn't actually store the course at all for the individual course they ran. We're looking at potentially storing that in the future, but we haven't started on that project yet.
Matt, what about photos?
Yeah, so photos are another great way. I don't know if I have photos on here. I didn't prep for photos talk on this one, unfortunately.
If you go to the Bucknell Longtown 55. And then results, and then search for me.
So we do allow users to submit their own photos when they log an activity. So Bob, these are great, Bob, I love them. So Bob's uploaded some really cool Glory Days photos. Man, this is great. But it would be more, we see more often races will instruct their users to upload like a screenshot of their activity on their phone if they used a app to record it or something like that, and then maybe post a selfie. So it'll actually show in the results page itself. You could see photos for each and every person. Looks like this race didn't really have a ton, but the idea is you can submit your photos when you log your activities. I don't think right now we have the photo submission button showing on the confirmation page, but we're eventually going to have it. So as soon as you log your activity, you can click a button to to submit your photos for that activity.
Yeah.
And you have a whole gallery of all the participant uploads on this page.
There is a question on the time milestones, time-based milestones.
Sure.
That's not there right now. And what's the timeline on that one again?
Time-based ones, I believe, should be done next week, early.
Yep. is there the ability to put custom content on the activity logging page?
Not yet, but it is something that I want to do. I have a request out for it because I know specific activity types need different types of instructions potentially. So that's definitely something we've heard before.
Yeah. So, you know, on the, I forget where this question is, but basically, it was a question about, you know, basically allowing people to have a page where they could interact with each other, kind of like a timeline newsfeed comments type question where people could comment publicly.
We've never really approached becoming a social media platform. And I think this is probably more a Bob question than a me question, but trying to do a social media platform is really hard. And we think other people do it better. That's my thoughts on trying to do that. I don't know. What do you think, Bob?
Yeah, that I really want to stay away from from social media. And you know, basically what we've done is we've given people the ability to put a comment on their own page. So they're owning that comment, if you will. And I'm kind of hesitant to make it interactive, to be honest. I think that there's potential slippery slopes, as everybody sees today with Facebook and Twitter and all that. The other comment I'll make is that these do tend to be social experiences. So when Marlies, the woman of my dreams and the person I'm going to celebrate our 41st anniversary with next week, she did the New Jersey Parkway Challenge, and she had 5 friends here in Moorestown that did it as well. And they were on each other's pages multiple times a day, comparing themselves with each other. And you can actually show multiple people on those individual result pages, and you'll be able to see multiple people on the map and where they're positioned and things like that. I think if we do anything, and then the other interesting thing is like team-based ones. So you can see more. She's in the she's in the Parkway Challenge. She has multiple. There's multiple different types of events here.
I'm just gonna show up.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go.
But they're all at the end.
Yeah. Everybody finished.
Yeah.
Finished that one. But I do think that we could make like what Matt just did there a little bit easier and a little bit more intuitive. So I'd like to spend some time on that, you know, in the coming months as well.
Yeah, we could do something like that very easily.
Yeah. Matt, I don't think I see any other big questions.
It's 2:59. This is perfect.
Yeah, I do want to kind of ask a question and kind of guide toward an answer on it. Why are we putting so much effort into challenges? I mean, we have a lot of development talent that's working on challenges today. The amount of software that it takes to get all this as smooth as it is quite a bit of investment. Why are we doing that?
Well, obviously, the easy answer is because of COVID-19. People need something to be able to do, participants and race directors. What's unique about challenges is that they are engaging over a longer period of time than a regular event or race is. So it just gives something for people to do. It gives race directors a way to generate their profit, allows participants to feel like they're doing something and accomplishing something when they may not feel like they're able to otherwise. That's the face value side of it. The other side of it is that we see a ton of challenges getting created. I think it was Bob knows the numbers better than I do, but it's like 20% of our events.
25% of the transaction volume going through our platform today is on challenges.
Yeah, and what we see is that what we assume and we think is that these challenge events aren't going anywhere. Even when regular in-person events, 10,000 person events and the 200 ones down the street, even when those are back and running normally, we don't think that challenges are going to go away. Like I talked about before, I really think that there's an opportunity for events to get participants engaged with their event months prior to it. If they are having an in-person event, they may have a training program that leads up to it using our challenge platform. There's a lot of opportunities here for us to reutilize this system for things other than just what's happening right now because of the current crisis we're in. So I'm super excited about it from that side of it. We also are seeing an increase in number of new payment accounts on our system. And what that means is that there are people coming into our system who have never put on real races, who are putting on challenge events, and they're being successful with them, it seems like. So we think this is a part of the future, and we're embracing it, and we're trying to get ahead of the game by diverting a lot of our development resources towards it.
Yeah, and I'll just add a quick story or two to that. So one is that there are organizations today that are kind of being saved by having challenge revenue flow through them. And you know, the 500 festival is an example of one where they've got a major marathon that's incapable of happening this year, but they have actual employees that are part of that organization, and they need revenue to be able to pay those employees' salaries. And challenges have been able to give them a revenue source. The second thing is to what Matt has been saying, we have seen some organizations starting to put together these combo. So they're combining a challenge with a virtual race. So they're actually combining both of them, kind of proving this thesis that Matt just talked about, where challenges are going to last well beyond. And so the strategic reason why we're creating challenges is we think challenges is going to be an important part of a lot of endurance events for the next 10 years. All right.
Totally agree.
Matt, thank you so much. You did a great job. You speak a lot better than I do. You're much more logical too. I can follow you. I have a tough time following myself.
All right, well, thanks everyone for attending. I hope you learned something from today's session. Take this document, read through all of the documents that it points to, make some challenges, put them out there, get some people excited. I'll talk to you in the next one, and see you soon. Bye.